going on, everybody? This is Shok, and before I get started, I just want to say this. I'm taking a break, right? I'm going to take a huge ass hiatus from these argumentative videos where I'm yelling at people. I'll talk about particular fan bases. I'm shooting down bullshit. A lot of people lately have been saying, Shok, you're kind of going on this rampage, chill out for a bit and play games. I'm not saying this just because of those people, because here's the thing, right? I'm tired of doing it myself. I am. I do not enjoy, for the most part, I do not enjoy constantly doing these kinds of videos where I have to constantly shoot down bullshit, clear up bullshit, call people out, point out hypocrisies. It gets tiring. And the reason why I do it is because I don't see enough people doing it. I don't see these big YouTubers, I don't see these bigger gaming sites doing this stuff. They won't do the dirty work. They won't say what needs to be said. Now, I'm not saying I'm the only person who just keeps it real here on YouTube and whatnot. I'm sure there's a lot of smaller channels, but the problem is that those channels aren't as well known, so I don't really see them. But as far as these big YouTube channels go, you really don't see it. Everybody is either busy being a corporate slave to these companies, or everybody's busy being overly optimistic, acting like the gaming industry and everything is just roses and daisies when it's not. There's peril going on all around us. People who act like nothing is going wrong, right? Too many people like that. Not enough people who see reality, keep it real, tell it like it is. That's not to say that I feel like I'm the Batman, this community, whatever. We'll say, I'm the YouTuber. I'm not the YouTuber that this community deserves, but I'm the YouTuber the community needs. I'm not saying all that, but it's something like that. It's something like there's not enough, so I try to fill that gap. That's simply how I feel about it. But like I said, I'm going to go on a hiatus with these videos. I'm going to start talking about games again. I've never been, a gameplay channel, never been a commentary channel, but I did used to talk about games quite often in the past, and eventually, slowly, I just kind of got off of that because bullshit. But this is going to be my last video. Two kinds of audiences I want to address in this video. The audience who says they don't care about sales and financials, which they do. And then the people who aren't fanboys, aren't drones, aren't corporate slaves, who are just fans, all around gamers, who legitimately don't feel like they care about those things. Now let's start with the fanboys, right? Don't tell me you don't care about a company's financials or sales when a company you don't like reports a loss and you laugh. You literally jump for joy. You literally have a smirk on your face when you read that headline. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that. For instance, yesterday's video, we all know what happened. Sony reports the 1.1 billion loss. So now that when I shoved all those facts in people's faces, and in the video I did prior to that, Nintendo to go bankrupt, Sony to buy them, sarcastic title for those of you who haven't seen the video yet, where I was pretty much laid out all the financial woes that Sony has been going through that people don't know because a lot of these sites either don't get it out or people deliberately ignore the information. When I shove these facts in their faces, now we pretty much have all that fan base of people, that entire fan base of people simply saying, well, I don't care. Which is simply false. Because you'll laugh at Nintendo if they're reporting a loss. You laugh at the fact that the PS4 is outselling the Xbox One by a large margin. You see what I'm saying? If you don't care about financials and sales, then why did you jump for joy when the PS3 surpassed the Xbox 360 in total lifetime sales? If you don't care about sales and financials, why did you jump for joy when the PS4 sold over 1 million in the first 24 hours, or was it 48? Whichever. When it was announced that they had sold 2.1 million when they reached that mark, why did you jump for joy? When the news came out that they sold over 4 million, why did you jump for joy? Because you do care. You do. You just don't care when it is convenient for you to not do so. And that's the bottom line, and that's what it comes down to. Because everybody cheers when their company, their champion, does well. Everybody does it. So don't tell me you don't care about sales and financials. And I find it hilarious how you have some people in this community swear up and down that they don't care about sales, financials, and stocks, yet they'll report on it. Absolutely hilarious. Now, for those of you who didn't fall into the first category I was addressing, the first category of people, for those of you who, you're not a fanboy, you're not on that bullshit, you're just a gamer who likes games. If you see a game on that system that looks good, you're not going to bullshit. You're going to want to get that system to play those games. For you gamers who are just all-around gamers, you're not on that bullshit. For those of you guys who sincerely don't feel that you care about these things, you don't feel you care about sales or financials or whatnot, I'm here to tell you that you should. And it's a very simple reason. Like, I'm surprised I even had to explain this, but I saw just too much BS on Facebook yesterday, too much I don't care. The reason why you should is because you own a PlayStation, don't you? You own a Nintendo system, don't you? You own an Xbox, don't you? If you own a console, if you like these consoles, or if you are a fan of any one of these consoles, you should care about these companies' financials. Plain and simple. Now, I'm not saying you guys spend every day watching the stock market and, watching their stocks fluctuate. I'm not saying all of that, people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you need to, closely follow it. But if you enjoy the products that these companies put out, then you should have a general knowledge of the well-being of said companies. You see what I'm saying? For instance, Hard8, and of course this is no knock to him, me and Hard8 are cool, whatever, right? Hard8 tells me all the time, I don't give a fuck about what's happening in Sony, yada yada. And I always ask him, but you own a PlayStation, don't you? You own a PlayStation 4, right? So if you don't care about how bad Sony is doing, right, that means you wouldn't care if a PlayStation 5 never came into existence? You see what I'm saying? Think, people. Think. By you saying you don't care about these companies' financials, by you saying you don't care about these sales or whatever, you're pretty much saying that you don't care whether or not these companies die. I'm sure most of you watching this video actually wouldn't mind Microsoft being out of the gaming race or whatever. So I'm not going to list Microsoft, but imagine a gaming industry without Nintendo or Sony. It just wouldn't feel right now, would it? It wouldn't seem right. It would be unsettling to see one of them exit the console market. It really would. Because Sony and, of course, Nintendo especially have just been in the game for so long. They have been a huge part of our childhood and our adulthood for that matter, but especially our childhood. We grew up on PlayStation and Nintendo. You see what I'm saying? And you mean to tell me you don't care if these companies just died when they made your childhood awesome and they are still bringing you great experiences to this day? You see what I'm saying? I don't see how you can sit there and say you don't care about the financials. Again, I'm not saying you have to be this analyst. You have to look up information on them constantly, what's going on with their company, things of that nature. But you should have a general care for the well-being of these companies. If Sony reports that they're about to lose possibly $1.1 million, you should not be saying, I don't care, if you currently own a PlayStation product. You see what I'm saying? Because another thing you guys got to realize is that even if it's not coming from the gaming division, what's happening with Sony as a whole can affect the PlayStation division. It can. But plain and simple. Nintendo is reporting a loss for this fiscal year, right? Look how many changes that's bringing along. You see what I'm saying? That's why financials are so important. Nintendo is losing money. The Wii U is struggling. So what are they doing now? Now, they're going to start acquiring more developers. Now they're going to start letting third parties work on their IPs again like they did in the GameCube days. F-Zero GX was arguably the best F-Zero that was made by a third party. You see what I'm saying? Nintendo is improving because, well, they say they're improving. We've yet to see any of these things set in motion because, you know, they just said it last month. So it's going to be a while till we actually hear about any, you know, acquisitions or, you know, anything like that or lending out of IPs or whatever. But according to Iwata, they're improving. Iwata understands that they need to appeal to the West more. He said that himself. He said it multiple times. Financials. That's all part of financials. Financials affect us, people. A lot of people say, why do you care about their money? Yeah, are you getting money? Their money doesn't affect you. It does. It does affect us. Because what is going on with those companies affects the kind of games we get, the kind of features we get, the policies we get on their systems, things of that nature. So they do affect us, and you should care. And a third reason why you should care about these financials and things of that nature is to just simply stay educated. That's all it boils down to, is to simply stay educated. Again, in that video I did, Nintendo to go bankrupt, Sony to buy them, sarcastic title, I mentioned how you could go to the comment section of that video, and it happened on Twitter and Facebook as well. A lot of people told me that they had no idea that Sony was even in that kind of financial hole. They had no idea that Sony was struggling that badly. You see what I'm saying? They had no idea that that information existed. And the reason why I put Sony to buy them in the title, because we actually have a lot of Sony dudes who legit think that Nintendo is on the brink of bankruptcy because they're reporting a $300 million loss, which is nothing to them, right? Because Nintendo has money in the bank. They have had 30 years of profit until, I believe, 2012 is when they finally reported a fiscal loss. And then, you know, how I mentioned in that video how Nintendo is actually valued as a bigger company than Sony. They are healthier than Sony right now. But you legit have Sony guys thinking that there is a slim possibility that Sony may be able to buy out Nintendo and we'll see Mario on PlayStation systems. That's my point. Those things come from the lack of knowledge. It comes from ignorance. It comes from uneducated people. So that is the third reason why you should care and you should know these things. Just to be educated. Just to be educated. Just to know. So that way, if you see somebody bring up a conversation regarding these things, you don't sound stupid. You don't make a fool of yourself. You see what I'm saying? And that's pretty much all it boils down to. So I gave 3 great reasons, y'all. I'm sure you guys can agree with those reasons. But if you are a gamer, if you own any of these consoles, you should care about the well-being of these companies, period. Even for the PC guys. Imagine PC gaming without Valve. But I think I've said enough. It's time to get on with the game, people. I'm going to talk about games in my next video. I'm going to talk about games I did not talk about last year, such as, you know, 3D World and Wonderful 101. I don't think I actually gave my thoughts on this channel about those games, whatever. I'm going to talk about games I've been playing, you know, things of that nature. And I also want to make a separate dedicated video to Monolith Soft's X, as well as some other games. So look forward to those vids, y'all. But thanks for watching. I'll see you fools later. Peace.